In 2011, the former governor of Punjab, Shaan Taseer, who spoke out in support of Asia Bibi, was gunned down in Islamabad. Tributes have poured in on social media since that court acquittal of Asia Bibi today. Well, I'm joined now by his son, Shaan Taseer, from Toronto. And thank you so much for being here on the programme. Let me start by asking you, first of all, your reaction since you heard this news break.
Well, this is wonderful news. It's great news to wake up to. It's wonderful news not just for me and my family, for the country, for humanity, because a grave injustice has been righted. We can never take back the 9 years of her life that we have taken away from her, but we now go some way to correcting that wrong. So it's wonderful news, and I believe if my father's looking down, he will be a happy man.
When your father spoke out in support of her, spoke out against blasphemy laws, did you realise at the time, did he realise at the time just how dangerous that was?
Yes, there is always a danger in speaking out. It was a calculated risk. He knew, he was aware of the danger. That doesn't mean that one has complete foresight of how events will play out. But it is never a safe thing to do in Pakistan. It is always very risky when you speak out against the blasphemy laws, because the precedent is clear, and it's been made clear by the actions of the religious groups that if you speak out, you will be silenced. There's no doubt about that.
And is there a danger of backlash now? I mean, Imran Khan has been talking in the last few hours, condemning the threats made against these judges who've made this ruling. How worried would you be about the potential further backlash here, potentially?
Look, there will be backlash. There's no doubt about that, because the leader of this religious group that has taken this issue up, called the Tehreek Labbaik, has called his followers out on the street and said, come out and be prepared to risk your lives. So he's not mincing his words. He's calling for mayhem. And he's also very clearly calling for the murder of these judges. And this morning he's gone and named the Chief of Army Staff and the Prime Minister of Pakistan as well. So yes, of course there will be a backlash. There's absolutely no doubt about that. They will be looking for people, for another incident where someone can be killed and hailed as a martyr all over again, because they are invoking the memory of the man who murdered my father. They are calling for the guards and the security detail and personnel of the Chief of Army Staff and the Prime Minister to take his life. So there are very active, clear murder calls. So yes, of course there will be a backlash.
Now, Pakistan, of course, has a new Prime Minister, Imran Khan. Do you think it is a coincidence, or has he changed the dynamic here somehow to get to today's ruling?
No. See, Pakistan does have a functional, rigid legal system. It can be slow at times, it can be imperfect, but it does function. 3 months ago, or 3 to 4 months ago, her legal counsel put in a request for an early hearing. That request has been taken up. So a legal course has been followed. I do not believe that there are any hands at play behind this. This is not the first case of blasphemy that has gone up to the Supreme Court, nor is it the first that has been overturned.
Well, you take me quite naturally to the question I was going to ask you next, which is, do you think today's ruling brings us any closer to a fundamental change in actually having that blasphemy laws on the statute book?
Yes, but all I can say is that the arc of history is long. It brings us closer. It does set a precedent, but by closer we don't mean there's a straight path to that eventuality. It may be a jagged path. But eventually, this law has to be consigned to the dustbin of history. It's a cruel, inhumane, and therefore an illegitimate law. It has led to nothing but suffering. It has made a majority paranoid and scared of a minority. And we've seen all too clearly from the lessons of the 20th century, when that happens, these are the building blocks of fascism. And this leads to mayhem. And this law is directly the cause of it. So eventually, it has to go.
Just a final thought then. Let's bring it right back round to Asia Bibi and that ruling today. Do you think it is going to be possible or impossible for her to stay and live in Pakistan?
Absolutely impossible. I mean, not only stay and live in Pakistan, she can't leave Multan jail where she is right now. She's not exactly going to walk out of the jail and take a railway ticket and take a train to Lahore and or get a job in Pakistan. No way. She will probably have to leave in security detail, possibly helicoptered out, and definitely take asylum and leave the country. It will not be possible. She is probably the most targeted person in the country by these religious groups.
Well, Shaan Taseer, thank you so much for taking time to speak to us there on today's programme from Toronto. Thanks for your time.